sure you probably all know how to make it, but I'll just give you my particulars as I tie it. And as I showed on that video, everything evolves. Initially, when I first tied the surf candy, and I won't even go way back, but more recently, as maybe 10, 12 years ago, I would do it a certain way. But now it's really come down to about as simple as I can make it. No matter what, always thread on the shank, no matter what. Every fly that I tie gets thread through the whole shank first. Then I'm just going to turn it over, bring the thread up just behind the eye of the hook. And again, I got to go fishing tomorrow, right? So I'm making this stuff. Multiple ties, so there's going to be white and there's going to be green, so I don't want to take too much because I know I'm going to be building another one over the top. I cut my end square. That there. And then I'll take it out of the vise. Just divide it up pretty good. Now, I'm imitating the small bait. And we see the small baits are mostly translucent. So remember back, they got stripes in there, they got eyeballs in there, and then they can do something for the belly. Anyway, I got the translucent material. I'm going to put a little bit of flash in there, and I'm going to put another color over top, very light also. And then we'll put the eyes in there, and then that's it. So it's about as simple a fly to tie as you could get. And if you want, a lot of times I'll just take this, or only this, and that's the only color I'll make. I do it in one shot. I put the flash on first, right down the middle. See it there.
Of course, you have to have the right consistency in your saliva too.
Yeah. Well,
What exactly is that flash material?
that's Flashaboo, this old Flashaboo pearl. I don't know the number. Okay. You know what I really like a lot though for these kind of things
Okay.
is what is that? You'll find angel hair. You find the stuff that's nice and straight, because what angel hair does, it's so many fibers that when it gets backlit, it's black. It's a solid line. This won't be that solid of a line. You say, so if you find that angel hair, silver, it doesn't really matter the color, but silver would be more natural from this direction, and then behind, you'd have that nice stripe in there. It stands right out. So that's a good choice, but I didn't have any, so. Now, let's put the color on top. Again, not that much. And you see, everything that I tie, I cut it square. I don't cut it in an angle. It's just a habit that I've always gotten into. I tie very close anyway. But when you deal with bucktail, when I do those bucktail deceivers, everything, all that bucktail is cut square. When you tie it on a shank, if you cut your material at an angle and you wrap it onto that shank, your material is going to taper. That's why they generally do that. To finish a fly, it tapers down. You cut it square, you cut it level and parallel to the hook. So what you then have done is create another tying base, even on top of the tie. But if you tie it at an angle, you can't tie on a taper. Or if you tie it at a taper, you can't tie on an angle. All right. So that's a real basic tie. Now all I got to do is put some eyes on it. I don't know if you guys have these around. I would hope you do, but I know even in the Northeast, where you got all these people, it's hard to find. People ask me about them all the time. These are prism eyes. We all have them, but these prism eyes have tabs on them that make this easier, because I'm trying to do this all in one coat. But the epoxy work I always used to do two. So I need to get the eye on there first. Now a regular eye won't stick to that. I could put it on and cover it with the clear thread, will be fine, but then that's going to force it to be directly in front. I want it slightly behind the tying point. So these eyes have these little tailcraft, and Coloma, Michigan is the company, but I don't know if they use that witchcraft line anymore. I think they had a lawsuit. So it's some kind of tape product. And they have it, it's not in their catalog. If you call them, you have to ask them for it. It's called tab eyes.
Tab eyes.
Mm-hmm. So it all depends on who they're actually buying them from. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut most of that tab off a little bit, because that allows me to position Yeah, a little bit further back. Okay. And then you just wrap the tab. All right, get the other side. It's really worth it, but it sets off nice. We'll get a shot out of it today. All right. So. Okay. Everybody knows the wick finish? Everybody good wick finish? All right, let's see what happens here now. Here's this whole thing. Now, whether this is the core, this is the flex, that's what we're going to use today. Doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. This will set off a little quicker than the core will. And when we get into the light, that's where this is all going to pay off. So, I'm just going to push it on, use this syringe here. I got the material under control in my left hand. And I got the syringe and I'm pushing it in, just touching the shank, pushing it through the fibers here as I'm pushing more stuff out. Now what you got to see here is, again, you guys are familiar with epoxy, you'll know the difference right away. And I like using the syringe. You can squeeze all this stuff out onto a Post-it pad if you wanted to, and bring it up like you would epoxy, but it's up to you. And make sure I get enough there. Right. Suck a little bit back in with the syringe when you're done. Now, you don't know where. I mean, it's like all that anxiety I described, running around my room, turning it upside down, all that kind of stuff. It's got that consistency, and this consistency is not changing. It's not getting stiffer. It's not getting smoother or more runny. It's staying the same thing until I take my light. When I like the shape, I hit it with that, it's done. So all that kind of anxiety that those early guys did with the epoxy pretty much is gone. You can get a drip. It's going to be a while, but it's dripping there now. So it's just for me now, the way this is coming off, I'll just counter it here. I was upside down. I'll just take the bodkin like I did with epoxy. Move it around here. I like it. And with the light. And go here. Now look how close the light is. And look how slow I move. All right. Then I'll do the four sides. See, that's already firmed up. See that? This really goes off quick. Do underneath. Do all four sides. This is where guys make a mistake. They do this. And they wave it. They go far away. Weak batteries. So I know that's done, but I'm going to make sure that I got it. It's a done deal. Okay. And I'm going to use the alcohol pads here, but this works out a little bit better. The alcohol pads on the core work a little quicker than they do with the softer versions here. So sometimes this takes a couple applications.